Alright, I understand the title is pretty vague, and you're probably already asking me a question. Henry, how can a platform ruin and save the music industry at the same time? Well, you clicked on this video, so let me explain. Back when I was originally planning to do this video, I was gonna make it about how banning TikTok would be detrimental to the underground music scene. I was gonna talk about a bunch of different factors, but those aren't really relevant anymore. With TikTok being here to stay, at least for a little while, that means the underground music scene is saved, right? Kinda. TikTok and short form content in general has kind of paved a new way for marketing as an independent artist, where instead of having labels push out TV commercials or billboards or blimps, pretty sure that's been done before, you can post a 15-second video on TikTok that would get seen by the same amount, if not more people, and it's free. This was pretty much unheard of whenever TikTok was starting to be used for that sort of thing. Before that, the only way to promo your music if you were independent was through like YouTube or something. So with this new kind of promotion, it gave birth to this generation of TikTok artists that became popularized on the platform and now have blooming careers. And because artists have seen success with it, other artists try the same method every single day. And while there are a multitude of pros, like some of the ones I just mentioned, there are a lot of cons. Not everything can be all sunshine and roses over there, and there are lots of downsides to promoting music on TikTok and the effect that it has on artists, on music, on replayability, stuff like that. So now that this godforsaken platform is with us for a little bit longer, I want to talk about how TikTok is single-handedly ruining and saving the music industry as we know it. And I want to talk about it in three different aspects. I want to talk about the concepts of replayability, virality, and discoverability. Wait, is that a word? Whoa, no way, I thought I made that up. So we're gonna get into it, but before we go any further, my name's Henry, I love music, and this is where I talk about it. Just like a majority of small YouTubers, a lot of my audience is not subscribed. So if you could subscribe, that would be really cool. This channel is mostly music commentary, but I do small artist reactions, I do album reactions, I do artist interviews. I did an artist interview, but I want to do more. So if all that stuff sounds interesting to you, subscribe. 2025 is gonna be a cool year. But anyways, let's keep going. So let's talk about the concept of replayability, or finding that golden clip of a song that can just get played over and over and over again. Short form content is kind of a blessing and a curse when it comes to music promo, because if someone gets recommended your video, you'll have to listen to their song whether you like it or not, unless you scroll away quick enough. So that means they're gonna get to hear at least a couple seconds of your song. And what that means is you need to find the perfect clip of your song to promo everywhere. Because if you pick the wrong one, people may not attach themselves to it. But not only does the clip need to sound good, it needs to be able to be heard a billion different times without getting old. Because that's what you're aiming for. If you're promoting on TikTok, you want people to use your sound. So you want it to be accessible to everybody, whether that be with a dance trend or just a trend in general, or just people really liking your song. A great example of this would be the song Big Dogs by Hanumankind. I hope I'm saying that right. One of the first parts of that song, the part that was clipped and used all over social media, was very replayable, and it combined a lot of genres that are very popular right now, but even more popular at the time. Funk music has always been super popular on TikTok, so like a funk rap song talking about standing on business, it was kind of bound to do good. People were doing like transitions with it where they would step on the camera, my feet can't be in frame, I'm on a tripod, and it just became super popular. The replayability of that clip was 100% there. But now we get to the downside of replayability. You have to hear it a million times. If you know that image of like the rotating circle and there's 4 different spots, like a cycle, the cycle is always pretty much song is created, clip gets replayed a billion times, everyone says it's too overplayed, forgets about the song. So in a lot of cases, instead of this replayability factor skyrocketing these artists' career, which it still does, it kind of turns them into one-hit wonders. It creates this effect where everybody knows the artist by that one part of their song, but they've heard it so many times that they don't like the song anymore, and that causes them not to explore more of that artist's music, which is super detrimental to their career, because obviously these artists aren't just making one good song. They have tons of songs similar to that one even. But because you've heard 10 Toes In When We Standin' On Business for the past 2 months, you're probably tired of it, and you're probably not gonna go check out more of his music. And that's no hate on Hanumankind or anything, that dude's great. But I'm just talking about like the effect in general. But this kind of gives a segue into the second point. Virality. Yep, the thing everybody is searching for on these short form content apps. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube Shorts, or even just YouTube. Everyone is trying to get that video, the one everyone talks about for the next week or so. The one that gets millions of views, hundreds of thousands of likes, and puts that creator onto a pedestal. And this is 100% true in music. As I was mentioning earlier, whenever you're promoting your music on any kind of short form content platform, you're always trying to get that next viral sound, that next hit video, in order to skyrocket your career and go from an independent artist to whatever is after that. You want people to talk about your videos, which is both a blessing and a curse. I think the blessing is that virality has made some really good artists a lot more platformed. A great and probably the best example I can give is David, or D4VD. I think it's pronounced David though. I have always had the utmost respect for David and the absolute grind that he went through to get his music out there. David recorded all of his music in a closet on BandLab on his phone, and has become one of the most successful artists to come out of TikTok. If you still don't know who I'm talking about, he made the song Romantic Homicide, and he opened for SZA on her tour, I believe last year. If not last year, the year before. I could be getting that wrong. David was a guy that just had a genuine love for music and spent every free minute in his closet creating it, and TikTok gave him a platform where he could share that without having to go through a middleman or a label. And what happened was people really connected with the song, and it combined the good parts of that replayability aspect that I was talking about, and it skyrocketed his career. He became a massive artist, and he wasn't just a one-hit wonder. Every song he released after that still did insanely well. But virality is not always a good thing, or more so the pursuit of virality. You see, social media is a gamble. Every time you post a video or upload a song, it's essentially up to the algorithm of the app to determine how many people are going to see it. And even though short form content is the most effective way of doing this, getting as many eyes and ears on your music as possible, the pursuit of virality can have people doing some crazy things. I've seen some crazy videos of people trying to do anything to keep your attention so that you'll listen to their music. And I think that always negatively affects people's careers. At the end of the day, you want to be successful because of how good your music is, not the actions you take to get your music out there. And I understand that short form content is hard. You kind of have to try and get every advantage at your disposal, even if that means acting like a maniac to get people to laugh at your videos. So I always say try to let your growth happen as naturally as possible. Keep yourself true to your music. Keep your content and your style true to how your music is. If your music is good, people will find it, I promise you. Don't injure yourself to get a few more streams on your song. At the end of the day, you'll just be known as the dude who hurt himself to get views. No one will remember your music. And finally, segueing out of the topic of virality, I want to talk about discoverability. Shifting away less as someone who's posting their music and more as someone who is viewing people's music. This was the main topic I wanted to talk about whenever TikTok was being banned, because I've never seen a platform where it was easier to discover independent, small artists than TikTok. It had never been easier to find new music, and a majority of the time, that music was from people that I had never heard of before. I've discovered so many cool artists on TikTok. To name a few, Frank Sativa, Nectarine Girl, Biking with Francis, Lexa Gates. Those are all people that I discovered their music because they had been posting it on TikTok. Without TikTok, I probably would not have found their music otherwise. And that's the truth with other artists and their fans. Their fan bases may not have found them without TikTok. And that's why I think it's so important in terms of the discoverability of an artist, because it would be very rare if I found artists similar to that just like out in the wild. And even though TikTok is here to stay at least for another 90 days, it's still being threatened, if you will. And you can have your gripes about TikTok, you can say whatever you want. At the end of the day, I am not as educated as people out there, but just coming from someone who loves music and uses TikTok to find new artists, without TikTok, I think it's going to be a very different world for the music industry. Are there other short form content platforms? Yes. Will you still be able to promote there? Yes. Is it going to be the end of the world if TikTok goes away? No. But I do think TikTok is the most successful short form content platform to promo music on. I think the core audience is so much better than places like Reels or Shorts, that it's so much easier to build a community around your music there. And while that is in part to the audience, like I mentioned, I also think the algorithm is a big hand in that. TikTok's algorithm is 100% better than any other algorithm out there. And that is true for a viewing side and a publishing side. Even if your video doesn't go viral, that's still an easy like 200, 300 unique views on your content. That could result in like 10 new people listening to your song. Whereas on Reels and Shorts, it's kind of hit or miss whether your video will get like 20 views or like 500 plus. I've been trying to post shorts like somewhat consistently, and it's just, there's no rhyme or reason to like how well your videos will do. So all we can do right now is just hope that TikTok stays around, and most importantly, it stays the same. I know ByteDance was saying that the algorithm was the part they didn't want to sell. So if TikTok does end up selling and they change the algorithm, who knows what that's going to look like for like publishing and viewing. But the hope is that it will stay pretty similar. And if you watching this are a small artist, never stop. Never stop posting your music. If it's not on TikTok, even though I said that Reels and Shorts were not as good, if those are your only options, keep posting on there, because you will find your audience. And like I said, if your music is good and you stay consistent with it, you will find your people. And hey, you can always comment in my comment section, because I do small artist reactions. Who knows? I might listen to your song live. But anyway, I think that's gonna do it. It's been a crazy few weeks with TikTok, just like going dark and then coming back in like 12 hours. So we're gonna see what that kind of fleshes out to be. But for now, it looks like we got it. We hit 500 subscribers not too long ago, so thank you guys so much. It's always so crazy to hit every single milestone to me. But yeah, love you guys, like, subscribe, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Goodbye.